All right, everyone, welcome back to the Pioneers Podcast, the podcast that makes AI simple for simple people or for everyday people. But Andrew Moulin with my co-host Chad Karotis. Today, we're actually going to be talking about the new kid on the block, the talk of the town, if you will. As pioneers, we've just sort of expeditioned our way into the next town, and the new town is Claudebot. So today, we're going to be talking about Claudebot, and we can't do this episode unless we shout out Notebook LM by Google, because basically this whole slideshow was created by Notebook LM. I got Stephanie on it, my wife. She's obsessed. So if you guys have not been using Notebook LM, there's nothing better in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it because, I know you told me about it a handful of times, but I guess I haven't really thought of use cases for it, at least for myself. So I'm excited for us, to really learn a little bit more about it and also Claudebot because I intentionally kind of withheld some of my education on it so we can really get in the sauce, and kind of learn together.
Yeah, in the weeds, as it were. Let me just pull it up real quick, and then we can get into it. I think one of the key things about this that we can really take away is like, and I kind of feel like we always talk about this, but we're kind of shifting from all these AI products that like make life easier and like simpler to, hey, can AI actually do the freaking work now? And I feel like we've just been like teetering on that this whole time. But yeah, let's get into it. I mean, guys, Claudebot to me, and again, have you used it, or you said you haven't used it yet?
No, so honestly, my plan today, because I'm scared to use it on my, regular computer, just because there are, from my understanding, there's not the what are they called, guardrails.
Guardrails, yeah.
So I have it like a secondary computer that I never really set up. So I think I'm gonna try to do some stuff on that.
That's exactly been my like the reason I've held back, and I think that that's a big thing that we're gonna talk about today. But if you guys are not, let's just go through it. If you guys are not familiar with Cloudbot and the hype that's been around it, I mean, it was literally like an overnight thing. Where it's like, hey, have you guys seen Cloudbot and just all these YouTube videos and stuff like that? So what we did with Notebook LM is we basically took we took from Cloudbot. What is it actually called? They changed the name of it because it sounded too much like Claude. Oh, Moltbot, which
Moltbot.
is which is so dumb.
Okay.
Which is so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, name
I
it
like
something that, like,
Claudebot.
I can say. Name it something that I can just flows off the tongue, not Moltbot.
That is kind of a stupid name.
Yeah, and the reason it said they started with Claudebot is because they were like, has something to do with a lobster. I, like, went deeper into it, on Notebook LM, and I asked it, why did they call it Claudebot? But, why was it a lobster? No one really knows, but basically Moltbot put out this thing frequently known as Cloudbot, and we went through their website. We put in the Notebook LM. We took two of the highest performing YouTube videos, got their transcript, put it into Notebook LM, and it created a nice presentation here and an interface that we can literally just talk to, which we'll do at the end. So the idea here is it's a 24/7 employee. You upload it to your computer. It basically takes over your computer. Okay. So going back to what you said about like, hey, I don't feel 100% comfortable doing this on my main work computer. It might mess it up or whatever. That's a pretty big concern for most people that have heard of Cloudbot. Um, but basically, we are witnessing, this is what I was stating at the beginning, but we are witnessing a fundamental shift in AI interaction. We are moving from using AI tools to employing autonomous agents. Moltbot is open source, it harnesses LLMs into proactive workers. So download it onto your machine, it does all the work you want it to do. And basically, um, the way we've seen AI in recent months is you have a user, you prompt it, AI answers, and then basically once you close the tab, it loses the context, right? So we think about LLMs, we think about ChatGPT, Gemini, even Claude. Claude forgets a bunch of stuff. So it's very passive and it's just sitting there waiting for input. Okay. The new way with Claudebot and there's other products that are coming out, but Cloudbot has been getting a lot of hype. But the new way is like you're asleep and AI is working. Okay, I think this is what we've all wanted AI to be, and we just sort of been waiting for someone to come out with something that does this. But while you're asleep, AI is working. It's researching and it's building at the same time. So it's active and it initiates tasks on its own.
And this is true agentic, what's the AGI? Because
Yeah,
we really are, it's taking it to the next level. Because to Drew's point, if you put in a prompt and then it simply spits out information, okay, that it's very cool. I remember the very first time seeing it, and what year, 2021 or something,
yeah.
and just being, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But this definitely takes it a step further because, we're seeing things like Claude Code, which is very impressive as well, because it can really take something and run with it and actually do an action. And we're seeing a lot more of this stuff. GPT's doing it where there's agent mode. So this really, I mean, I was kind of waiting on something like this to come out. And I think that it was timely and, its release. So it's cool. I'm excited to learn more about this.
So I want to iterate real quickly the difference between chatbots, nations, and then agentic AI. So most people, I would say most people that use AI, because we even looked it up on the previous episode about how like what was it? Uh 3% or sorry, 30% of people are actually just using AI in an every single day. And so the of that 30%, I would say I would make the assumption that they're using an LLM or a chatbot, right? So they're using it like Google. This is a whole thing right now. So they're using ChatGPT like Google. And they're saying, when was um, you know, when was this person born? And it comes out and it's like, okay, what was what's his net worth and blah blah blah. They're using it like Google, right? So that's the LLM chatbot portion. Then you go to automation, which is your N8N and your make.com, Zapier a little bit as well. So it's you're using you're tying together different either LLMs or different products, AI products into one thing. So it's an automation. And that has the potential of breaking, right? The nodes have a potential of breaking. Okay. Now we're talking about agentic AI, where you're not tying anything together. You're basically hiring an employee to go and figure out and do all these things, right? So that's sort of like the difference.
Exactly. And, we had talked about before, on previous episodes, like, oh, just talk to AI like it's an employee. And I think, that might be a little difficult for people to grasp because that does have limitations. Whereas this Moltbot slash Claudebot, I mean, this truly is you give it something and it will do it. For example, marketing, not my shtick. So instead, and I know I could, go on Claude and, kind of set up schedules and do that. But I think with something like this, I mean, I could just let it run.
Yeah, and I mean, uh, let's continue because I mean, we maybe my question will be answered, but basically my whole premise here is like, where does code come into this, right? In the sense of like, where does a software engineer come into this? Because software is not the same as AI, right? But a typical software engineer is someone who codes and creates something that works on its own, right? The idea that it's like if I can create an app or if I can create a software in my company, I have basically internalized um, processes into this one thing and it can work on its own, right? Now we've moved over to like there's actually an employee in your company that is that thing, that is the software. And so the idea here is like, where do we go from here when it comes to like software engineers, or do they just switch over to AI engineers at this point? Um, so Alex, don't know who Alex is, but Alex said,
Alex Finn. Alex Finn. Seriously.
yeah, Alex Finn, shout out at Alex Finn on all socials. It feels like hiring a digital operator who works around the clock and actually ships. There you go. So that answers my question. Done. Um, it's someone in your company that's shipping constantly instead of a software engineer that takes 6 months to do to put together a dashboard, right?
Now, I might be jumping the gun, Drew, so tell me if I am, but is this free to download?
It says it's open source, so
So, okay.
I would
I wonder
imagine
what they're how do they make money?
from the data probably.
Yeah, I guess the data, and then I know a lot of, some of the vibe coding apps and stuff, what they're doing is basically, um you're paying for the usage, and I'm sure they have to have, some sort of, what's the word? Like, margin, basically. So, like, on Claude Code, when you're using Opus or Sonnet, they do the same thing, but just through their interface, and I'd have to imagine it's like they kinda pad it with some margin, which would be very smart if that's the way they do it, because I have no problem paying for credits like that.
Yeah, so the idea here is that uh, Cloudbot is free to download and use because it's open source, right? The idea is that you're downloading it onto your machine. So what you do have to pay for though is say you use ChatGPT or say you use Claude. If you're doing that, you have to obviously pay for APIs.
API
So
usage, yeah.
yeah, so because you're downloading it on your machine, so it's literally like internal at that point. And then also to keep it running, if you want to keep it running 24/7, you have to pay like Oracle or AWS to like run it. So you're not actually paying Claudebot though, or yeah, what is the stupid name?
Let's just keep calling it Claudebot.
Moltbot. They actually officially changed it to Moltbot because everyone was like, "Oh, this is Claude's, this is Anthropic's product," and so
Yeah,
they had to
that's
change
what
it.
I had thought too, till I saw the W.
So real quick, let's run this through a little case study, right? So the creator buddy scenario. I don't know if you've seen this, but Elon put out $1 million giveaway to anyone who writes the best article on X. Okay, so at 2 a.m. you get a trigger, and because the agent is monitoring X, you basically told it, "Hey, monitor X, and if you see any of these things, start working." And so it identified an opportunity here to make $1 million by seeing that Elon is doing $1 million giveaway for the best article. So at 2 a.m., it's doing that. It's triggered. At 3:15, the agent autonomously codes article writer feature to capitalize on trends. So it started writing the article. At 4:30, it submits it to GitHub and runs tests. At 7 a.m., you wake up. So, so what is some of the impacts here? It identified an opportunity the human would have missed. Okay, so this is where I think that it's crazy. We talk about treat it like an employee, but it's better than an employee, right? Like if you get this right, if you get the communication right and set the guardrails and set the standards, this will be better than any employee you could possibly hire.
Definitely. Definitely.
So it'll get things you missed, and then it's like it saved 5+ hours of development time. Like, oh, if
Which
like say
which
you
is
set an
crazy.
alarm, yeah,
Yeah. And it's 5 hours of development time, but I think what's not taken into account for that is, okay, you're an entrepreneur. I need a developer. Where the hell do you find a developer? Like Upwork? And then, you don't really know what you're talking about, and you're having to kind of communicate your vision, and, then a developer could say, "Oh, well, that'll take, you know, 6 months and $60,000 to build," which is not uncommon for developers to say,
right.
especially to, a non-technical founder, CEO, etc. This really does it's democratizing the use of um, code, software, technology, and it's giving so much leverage to those who are early adopters who know how to use it. Which is why, if everyone shares this podcast with one person, no one's
If you're new to the trail, if you're new to the expedition and you're getting value from this and you're like, "Hey, actually this all makes sense. I've been watching all these YouTube videos and nothing makes sense, but listening to you guys yammer on about this thing, actually I'm starting to get it." Send it to someone else who might get it. Like don't be that person. We want more people on the trail. We're now in a new environment, new city, and after this episode we'll be back on the trail. Um So identity crisis, clarifying the ecosystem, okay? Moltbot, formerly known as Cloudbot, the open source node, it's called a node harness, aka the body. Don't need to know that because I don't even know that and I don't really care,
is this
to be
going to be on
honest.
the test?
Yeah, well, we have a Notebook LM, so we don't, whatever's on the test, we'll already have it. Um, so we have Moltbot, and then we have Claude. Okay, Claude is the LLM by Anthropic, aka the brain. Moltbot connects to this, but is not this. So the what is this even? So the agent needs a way to, it needs a brain. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's the body. Yeah,
exactly. So, it could be the brain to the body, to the body to the brain. I mean, I think another way to think about it is Moltbot is the car, the vehicle, Claude is the engine. So there's various ways to kind of think about that. But
yeah. So the LLM, it basically it needs to it draws from everything that's already on the internet. It draws from different sources, right? And so Moltbot is literally just like you said, it's the car. Claude is the engine or the computer in the car, right? So it needs to be intelligent. It can't just be running around doing all this stuff without some sort of brain behind it. So you connect Moltbot to Claude. Um, the key concept here is Moltbot is the local runtime and gives the LLM hands and eyes. That's a good one. That's a good way of thinking about it as well. If you have a brain but you don't have a body, then
yeah,
cool, doesn't matter.
I guess,
If you
yeah,
have a yeah, if you have a body just working, constantly working, it's not working on intelligent things, and it's probably, making a lot of mistakes. So you need the brain, you need the body. And yeah, I mean, looking at under the hood. So, under the hood, basically the architecture, the gateway acts as the single source of truth, routing messages from apps to the agentic logic and back. So, how do you communicate with this thing, right? So, this thing is running. It's running. We've connected it to Claude or to whatever your LLM of choice is. And how do we connect? How do we talk to it as if it's like an employee? So you can use WhatsApp, Telegram, or Discord. Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people using Telegram for this. I think Telegram is probably the best way to do it. Um,
I think you can use iMessage too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not positive though. I think though.
for those of you who are listening, I'm going into Notebook LM and I'm asking if you can use iMessage to communicate with Moltbot. Let's see what it says. And this is drawing from those three sources that I put in before, which was the two YouTube videos and Claude's. Yes, you can use iMessage to communicate with Moltbot. It is listed one of the core supported messaging channels, and
That's
that's
pretty
basically all
cool.
you need. That's basically all you need to know.
I mean, and so that really is like an employee, like texting an employee and saying, "Hey,
Exactly.
I need you to handle my social media."
Right. Um. So you have the inputs, right? You have the mouths, as they're calling it right here. That's WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, or iMessage. And you have the gateway, which is the basically the agent loop, right? So it goes into the LLM. It creates a skill or connects to the tool that it's using, right, to get that thing done. And then it's creating context around that, and then it goes through the whole thing again, which I love because I'm obsessed with like the idea of Tesla and their cars and how there's tens of millions of Tesla automobiles out there, right? And each one of them is a computer that's taking in data from the driver, from other cars, and it's putting it back into this central brain of Tesla, right? And so it's constantly getting this quick feedback loop over and over and over and over again, tens of thousands, hundreds, maybe millions of times a day. So it just has it understands how driving occurs better than any driver times like a million. So I've been obsessed with this idea of like a feedback loop like this. So the agentic loop, again, for those who are listening, is it goes into an LLM like Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and then it uses a tool to execute what it's trying to accomplish, and then it creates context around that. Once it creates the context around that, it puts it back into the LLM. So it's constantly getting better. which is insane because how many employees are constantly getting better at like every minute of every day? Um,
A and just the general skill level too. I mean, not having to hire for, especially skills that you don't know. How do you hire a tech person if you're not a tech person? It's
mm.
tricky, you know? So I something like this really is gonna be those who adopt it will be rewarded.
Yeah, and it's like just learn how to use it, you know? Like you said, it's like you have an extra computer. It's like if you have an extra computer, oh, wrong one. If you have an extra computer, then it's like just like run it, dude. Run it. Or honestly, you don't have an extra computer? $250, $300 on a used Mac or something like that, and then you run it on that. Like you have a $300 education. Good job.
Yeah. A $300 employee
Yeah, and
that
and
would cost $300,000.
I'm saying if you fail,
Oh, yeah,
which whatever that means, because it's like you gotten the knowledge. So $300 to learn how to do this.
for sure.
Let's make it $350. Send us $50. If everyone does that and then sends it to a friend, we'll have $50 million. So let's get it going. And that's a donation, so it's tax free.
Something like
So
that.
going through this one more time, the inputs, you have the WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, or iMessage. You're talking directly to the agent. The agent is going into the LLM. It's using the tool to execute it, and then it's creating context around what happened. Once that context is created, it sends it back to the LLM, and the whole cycle continues. So it's constantly improving and constantly getting better. So then the question is, what's the output? The output is a file system, a terminal, or a browser, right? So it's like if you're in a browser, it's like research this thing for me, right? It'll go through the browser. It'll send you an email. It'll like whatever is housed within a browser, if that makes sense. Um, Terminal, not 100% sure. I think that's just within the computer. So anything in the computer. Uh, I mean, there's a filing system there, but it's like opening iTunes or opening Teams or like whatever the apps are in your terminal. It can output through that. It can output through the file system as well. Those are basically all three things that you would need, right? Like it can't like, I mean, maybe it could deliver a pizza, like in terms of like get it uh
It could probably order one.
on I was gonna say Grubhub, but have you ever used Grubhub?
No, DoorDash and Uber Eats.
DoorDash and Uber Eats. Like what happened to Grubhub?
Yeah, I will actually, for shits and gigs, I think I'm gonna give it a credit card and see, like, if it can get, like, a Canva Pro subscription, because at least my plan so far now granted, a lot of this, like, this looks a little more complex than I thought. I thought it was gonna be like, plug and play, but we'll figure it out. But, I mean, I'm excited for what I'm gonna do with it, and I'm really gonna kinda push it to see where those
Yeah.
limits are. Like, I'm gonna have it make its own accounts, its own Gmails, and just kind of roll from there.
Um, I mean, it is pretty plug and play when you think about it, but I
I've
think
never even run anything locally. I don't even really know how to do that, so I'll have to figure it out.
yeah. I think I think it's pretty plug and play as far as, these types of things go. The other thing is I think what you were saying about testing it, it's like, bro, just stress test the shit out of it and like we'll see
Mhm.
what happens. And then it's like, okay, now I can create a list of things that I need done and it'll get it done. Like I'll just text it, hey, we need to get this done, and they'll just start running. It's like you should think about it like it's an employee. You literally have a computer, you buy a computer for your employee, and it's literally running all day long on your computer doing the things that you need to get done. It's just like if you can learn how to
Without
do this, like it's a
instruction.
yeah. And if you have a kid, if you have like a teenage kid, get them a computer to go and do like, hey, you do this, and I'll pay you $400. Your teenage son or daughter should be all over that.
And you're
Anyway,
doing them a favor by encouraging them to use and adapt and adopt this or adopt, you know what I'm saying?
um, yeah, you can, yeah, adopt an agentic employee. That should be the thing is like, they should do like one of those, uh, those dollar a day,
Yeah,
commercials and do
in
it for
the
an agentic
arms
employee.
of an angel. Yeah,
So let's talk about the 3 pillars of autonomy. Um, Persistent context, okay? Unlike a browser tab, Moltbot remembers you. It maintains a quote unquote user soul file with your business goals, relationship status, and preferences. You're basically uploading your Facebook profile back in the day, right?
interesting.
And so it understands you, it remembers you, and it basically is learning over time, right? We just talked about this. It learns over time. So it's literally just growing with you, which is insane. Next is proactive triggers. So the first one was persistent context. The second one is proactive triggers. Powered by cron jobs. I'm not 100% sure what cron jobs is, but basically every morning at 7 a.m., analyze competitors. It doesn't wait for a prompting. It will just start working, which is what we all want. At this time of day, I want you to send out a meeting or email, or I want you to send out what I want to do is I'll give a case study. You can give a case study
Yeah,
because as a plumber in my previous life,
yeah, right.
you own a plumbing company. You have 5 plumbers and an assistant. You want at every single morning at 5 a.m., I want my assistant to send out emails to everyone explaining, here are your jobs, or alerts on their phones. Here's your jobs. Here's what you got to get done today. Update us as you go on, right? Update the job, um, the job review or whatever, how it went, right? That's what this is doing. Analyze all the job requests that have come in and make sure that you don't need to prompt this either. This is literally just like
Well,
this is
and
what it's
that's
doing.
where exactly, and that's where because this is like a little complex. But the persistent context, really, what that means is, you could just pick up where you left off. You don't need to start over and say, "Oh, I'm a plumber. I have 5 employees, etc." It knows all this, right? It knows the mission. It knows the goal. It knows the problems. And to Drew's point, it learns over time. Um, and that really is, I think where the power kind of comes from is not having to constantly reprompt it because it does kind of build that sovereignty. And I think maybe a good way to kind of have it managing and executing, projects would be like maybe it could vibe code its own Kanban board, and then kind of that way you have a visual and you can really keep track of it. Just thinking out loud here, but I think that could be a good way to manage it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no. So my goal here is you're 100% right. Persistent context is a very big phrase for the average person who's just coming to AI, who's just joining the expedition. They don't understand all these things. They don't have the right, they're not wearing the right kit. They don't bring the right tools. We're here. We understand. We will make sure you have the right tools once we leave this town to go to the next one, right? So persistent context, like Chad said, 100% is it remembers who you are, right? It remembers your business, it remembers your relationship status, it remembers your goals in life. Okay. The next part is the proactive triggers. So it works on its own. It does not need you to prompt it, right? So you gave it a job to do. It's going to do that at the right time and at the right time. Okay. In the right way. The last one is system sovereignty, okay? Um, don't need to know what sandboxing is, but it it has read and write access to your local file system. This is inside your computer or inside a computer, and so it has all access to whatever you have on your computer, right? So you don't need to prompt again, we keep saying it, but you don't need to prompt it. You don't need to give it tools and all this stuff. You just have your computer the way you normally have it. Can literally replace you in what you would normally be doing. You don't need to get new things for this thing, for this. You just you allow it to do what you would normally do. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Sure does.
A great way to put this, if you're listening, is Moltbot is the local runtime and gives your LLM hands and eyes. So, I wish ChatGPT wouldn't just give me answers, but it would actually do it. This is Moltbot.
Yeah.
or
Right.
Claude. It's like, oh, Claude can code, but like, can it actually just like make my own app, or do I have to like, do this, do this, do this? Moltbot will do that because it has hands and eyes now. Um, yeah, I really, honestly, as we take a break here, I really think that stress testing all these things is the most important thing you can do from these podcasts. But I think this is actually the biggest town that we've been in with the most hustle and bustle is Moltbot, because this is what we've all been waiting for. We've been waiting for something that can just do the work. And I challenge you to see if this thing can do better than you. Can this thing do the job better than you?
Right. Well, yeah, in my case, I know it will be able to. And I think that's kind of the whole point of this AI revolution, right? Is, AI in the first place it was designed to do things that either humans don't want to do or, maybe AI could do more efficiently. It started with things like, oh, write a blog post, right? Stuff like that, kind of more content driven. Now we're seeing it more in, an active form, in an activity version, in actual work, not simply writing content. So I think this is also very telling for the future, right? I think we're going to see in some, of these other LLMs or, AI platforms, Gemini, GPT, Claude. I think we're going to see some more agentic features to where it really will go out and do it. I mean, ChatGPT is actually kind of getting better at it. It could plan a vacation and go on Travelocity and whatever, do all that stuff. So I think this is going to unlock a whole new wave of technology and innovation, particularly in that in an agentic manner.
Yeah, I think what OpenAI has done and ChatGPT has done is more, when they call it an agent, it's more of an automation, the way I look at it. It's been very like connect this thing to this thing, right? As opposed to, we have an agent that we have a person. Let's just use a person for now. We have a person that can go into these different platforms and do these specific things, as opposed to, hey, once you've connected all of the platforms together and set up all the runtimes and set up all the different tokens that you want to use per engagement, instead of doing all that, no, you go and do that. Go make some stuff on Canva, or go make some stuff on Typeform or whatever, and go do that. Go make the website, like things you would ask a human being to do, right? And I think it's funny because, like, I think a lot of people try to do things for others in general in their business, right? So they try to set everyone up with all the perfect things, and it's like, no, hire someone and tell them, hey, this is what I need. Go freaking do it. You don't have to give them all the things. Um, use
I'm gonna
case,
try
the
this out.
24/7.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No,
Well,
I
I
lost you
mean,
for a second there.
this kind of bleeding into the use cases, but you know what I'm going to do is Reddit because that's such a powerful marketing tool. And I always get banned from groups because, I don't read the rules and then, it's self promotion or whatever. And I'm not going to sit there and actually, engage in real discourse with these people. So with that said, I wonder if I can kind of have it, go set up its karma, provide value to the groups, follow all the rules, and then slowly start to, kind of plug different, apps or products stealthily following best practices because I know there's a way to do it. I just don't have the desire to do it. So that'll, yeah, no, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think there's a
Are you
lot
going to
of
use it? Are
different.
you going to do it? Have you used it?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't used it yet. I haven't used it yet. But I'm definitely gonna try it. Like, my goal with the podcast is like, can we use these products for our podcast? Can we be we are the Lewis and Clark of this expedition. Can we lead from the front, and can Cloudbot be our entire production team? So
I mean,
let's see.
so let's run with that, right? For the sake of the audience. So some use cases where we could use it: guest research and reach out. Just researching different people and persistently and consistently reaching out. I think cross pollination. So maybe posting it in different groups. Reddit basically just kind of getting that organic exposure. We can have it run Facebook ads, manage Facebook ads. Um, what else can we do? Maybe editing, posting.
Yeah.
There's
Um,
really a lot.
coming up
Channel
with our
optimization.
pre-production, coming up with our scripts, coming up with our I mean, the thing about this too is that there are already AI products out there doing these specific jobs, right? So like we right now we use Opus Clip, we use Riverside, we use and all these are AI products. We use Notebook LM, we use ChatGPT, Claude, and we can just have Moltbot tap into all those different things, right? So that's literally where we're at right now. Is like let's just hire this Cloudbot to go and do all this stuff for us and get to, get to 5 million subscribers in 22 episodes. I mean, that's the goal.
What episode is this? On the intros, that's what we need to
Might be
start
10.
doing is this is the welcome to the 10th episode of the Pioneers Podcast,
Yeah.
episode 10.
Yeah, I mean, we're ever evolving at this point.
And the goal from the onstart was at least make it to 30 because what's the stat? Like 95% of podcasts don't make it to 30 episodes.
90% don't make it to 30 episodes, and then sorry, 90% don't make it. So 10% make it, and then 10% of that group make it to 100.
10%. Okay, so so I see what you're saying. Top 10% of the top 10%.
Right. So we'll be top 1% once we get to that episode 100. Um that's that's a lot of episodes. There's only 52 weeks in a year, but by the end of this year we will be in the top 10%. That is a fact. Anyway, if I have to repost episodes, I will. Let's talk use case now, the 24/7 digital operator, okay? And I kind of like this one. Having an assistant, a lot of entrepreneurs, actual entrepreneurs, not just like social media entrepreneurs, talk about the most important high leverage hire is an assistant, an executive assistant, someone who literally makes sure that you don't have to worry about all this nonsense, and can just focus on your job. So the 24/7 digital operator, the Life operating system, basically aggregates Gmail, YouTube Analytics, calendar data into one single push notification. So if you're if you're watching, you could see this, but if you're not watching, on Telegram, Moltbot basically gives you your morning briefing, right? The weather, 72 degrees Fahrenheit, clear skies, inbox, 3 urgent emails, which is like 2 invoices, 1 client request, archived 14 newsletters. Then you have like a competitor alert. Nate B. Jones posted a video 2 hours ago, already got 15,000 views, outperforming average by 20%. And then it's like calendar, meeting with dev team at 10 a.m. It's literally just what an assistant would do. It's right in there. This would be the first thing I implement, I think. Use case
Oh,
number
look at that.
3.
Kanban board.
Yeah. Use case number 3, the junior developer, okay? So this is like your mission control area. You have your to do, you have your in progress, and you have done, right? So in the terminal, the agent workflow would have, it's, normal type of discussion when it comes to like GitHub and all that stuff. But basically the agent built its own task tracker. It's keeping itself accountable, right? So it's like, hey, I'm just making sure that I write down my to-do list, basically, right? So the agent built its own task tracker. It writes the code, creates a pull request, and waits for human review. It does not push to production without approval, right? So basically you're looking at this thing, it's getting all the things done it needs to get done, and then it's waiting for your approval before it produces. We're getting a little bit more technical here. I don't know if you've seen a lot of people buying
The Mac Minis.
the Mac Minis. It's like I thought that was Claudebot. I thought it was like I was like, oh, the Mac Minis are Claudebot, but it's basically because it takes a lot to run this, basically. So for me, I'm like, I'll just get a new Mac and run it on that. But you could get the Mac Mini and I mean, I'm sure it'll work perfectly. But the reason that everyone's getting the Mac Mini because, you know, we've seen them. I mean, I've seen so many stories with the Mac Minis, but why the Mac Mini? To be proactive, the agent must never sleep. Users are treating these as dedicated AI employee housing. This is where the AI employee lives, is on the Mac Mini. It's secure, local, and personal, far more private than a cloud VPS. So Mac Minis are going crazy right now. I would definitely be investing in Apple stock for the next couple months.
That's a good idea. Good point.
That is not financial advice. Let's just put that here at the bottom. I know our 8 subscribers will be absolutely appalled if stock prices plummet.
Yeah, legal will be up our ass.
So what are the installational prerequisites? Like, what do you need to install this? I don't know what any of this is, but you need
Yeah,
a
neither do
dedicate.
I. Honestly, this whole presentation, I'm like this is a lot of my pay grade. I'm not gonna lie.
But our job is to take the information and then simplify it. So at this point, what if someone said, "What is Cloudbot?" Cloudbot is basically the eyes and the body of an LLM. Now we're at, well, how do you use it? How do you download it or get it onto your machine? Well, you can't just download it to your normal computer and expect it to run 24/7. You need to have uh, Node.js is just like it turns everything into JSON files. But then you need dedicated hosts. So you need like the Mac Mini or a VPS. You need something that's going to
As a
house the
VPS, virtual private server.
processing server, I think.
What is that, like AWS or something?
Um, yeah, it can be AWS or Oracle. But virtual private server, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Perfect. That is correct. Virtual private server, so Mac Mini or virtual private server, so that you can run all this stuff and that it's housed in, the cloud, right? So all this stuff is like this takes a lot of energy. You need to have something that's going to be able to take this amount of energy and bandwidth. And then you need API keys, so that's Anthropic, OpenAI, Telegram bot token. You got to hook it up, right? So you get it. You need to make sure it has enough room to run around, it has enough energy, and then you need to have API keys to hook it up to. So you need Anthropic or OpenAI, Telegram. It needs to go in there.
And honestly, that's probably the least intimidating part about all of this. I know the icon and the words make it look very challenging, but you literally Google OpenAI API key and it's a create API key, and it's like you copy and paste it. So it's very easy. Um, and you know what I was thinking? It probably why the Macs are popular is you would need it in order to use iMessage, which makes sense, obviously. So I don't know, but my extra computer is not a Mac, so we'll see how that goes.
We need to just have a vlog of you setting it up, of setting up everything.
Yeah, yeah, and that would be on our after hours show.
Yeah, after hours for sure. We'll have a showtime and everything. So, yeah, basically comfort with the terminal is required, not for casual consumers. And that's as simple as we're trying to make it. It's not really like it can't be
Like, you
dumbed
don't really
down.
want this, yeah, like paying your bills maybe, or like, there's definitely because there are no guardrails on it. So it truly is you're handing over the keys to the kingdom. And that's why people are getting a secondary kingdom because they don't want the primary residents getting fucked with.
It's a trial period. So if you have a trial period, it's like how much you're gonna spend on a a new employee having a trial period. So this for me, I think this is a no-brainer. You get a Mac Mini or you get a VPS and you hook up all your API keys and you just run it and just see what happens. Like, and again, if you're a business owner who's like busy or whatever, then get your like 12-year-old son or 13-year-old son to do this so that if this works, like this is what I always think to myself. If this works for you, you've just unlocked like a
I mean,
thousand X.
truly changed your life. I really think this is life-changing technology, and I know that sounds dramatic, but it really isn't because of the capabilities of being able to constantly do something. I mean, what when you hear about, "Oh, what's the keys to success? Persistence, blah, 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 blah." This is the most persistent thing ever. You want a posting schedule? This thing will make sure stuff gets out. So that is I mean, this is a serious unlock, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Um. So the setup process we just talked about it a little bit. Very simple. Install. So you install the Moltbot into your new VPS or Apple product, the Mac Mini, and then you onboard Moltbot. So basically, you go in, you like it's an onboarding process. You give it the job description. Basically, you tell it what you want, you have a conversation with it, and then you pair it with your channels using logins and APIs and stuff like that. Once you've done that,
This is the part that's confusing and hard because when like where it's install npm, if I see an npm, I'm like, shit, I don't even know what this means. And like, where do you put this? Do you, y- how do you do this?
well, the vlog is coming soon, so they'll just be able to watch Chad put it together, and
Yeah.
it'll be
Okay. So
easy.
I'll figure it out for everyone, and then I'll report back.
Perfect. That's that. Yeah, you guys can follow us on our blog channel, which is the trade journals or the journals from the trail. Um, I'm just kidding. We haven't done that yet, but
Journals from the trail on our way to Oregon. Our wagon broke today.
yeah.
You know what? Kind of random aside. I forgot where. Oh, it was on Abacus. It basically it had the ability. Did I tell you about this? To rebuild like games from our childhood. So like remember the
Mm,
Oregon Trail game or like
yeah.
Shepherd Software or any of those. So I don't know. Kind of random aside there, but
No, it's
reminded me
sick.
of it.
I mean, I know it's mainstream, but I was so obsessed with Pokemon. Like
Really?
I could play that for thousands of hours, bro. Like I could eat up a day with Pokemon. Crazy. So configuration, defining the system prompt, HR onboarding for your AI. This is basically a prompt that you would give it, um, and comment the word prompt, and we'll send it to you. Basically, I'm a one man business. I need an employee taking as much off my plate as possible. Please take everything you know about me and do work you think would make my life easier. Don't be afraid to monitor my business. Create PRs for me to review. You're onboarding a new client, right? And you're basically, or not a new client, a new employee. This is pretty much what you would say to them, right? This is my issue. These are the problems I'm having. Whatever you think would help, go and do it. And so the goal is to move the bot from waiting for commands to hunting for tasks, looking for it to figure out what to do. Someone said the other day, it was Dan Martell. He's like, I don't hire people to tell them what to do. I hire them so they can tell me what to do, or so that they can tell others what to do. Like, I'm not hiring Moltbot to be like, hey, what do you need me to do today? Don't know. Go figure it out. Like,
Right.
I mean, after this episode, it's made me really excited to try it out. And I'll be waiting for the vlog.
Mm-hmm. Putting a lot of pressure on this walk.
Well, that's what we do. That's literally what we're here for. So let's look at the reality check. What's the cost of autonomy? You have a human employee, which is, upwards of $5,000 a month, or let's say between $3,500 to $5,000 a month for a human employee. And then you have like a passive chatbot that you use, like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, which is like $20 a month, right? Per chatbot, $20 a month. But then you have a proactive agent, and the reason that this is $300 a month is because of the APIs, right? So it's like you the LLMs you're already using, you're hooking them up to the agent, and you're spending $300 a month. So you're getting 10x the uh, like let's say it's on par with a human employee. You're saving 10 times the amount of money you would be spending on an employee, and that's if they're the same. But this employee works 24/7 and probably actually knows what it's doing, and it's learning in the process. So it's like, bro, you're saving 10x the money, but like you're making I don't want to be hyperbolic, but um probably 1,000 times return on
ROI.
investment.
Yeah. I mean, and the more we go through this, the more I'm like, wow, there's just so many different use cases and edge cases for this because I mean, you could literally tell it, figure out a way to make money online. Like, I don't know, maybe it's posting Fiverr gigs, or on Upwork or something. I'm excited to see how creative and how resourceful it can be.
So what it might be in here, but what do you think are the downsides of this
Oh, it's
for
scary as
our
shit.
on a personal basis or on a economic market basis?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think it's scary in the sense that I think we're going to start to lose more and more authenticity within content and on the internet, which we're already starting to see.
Do you
It's
care
hard to
about
tell something's.
authenticity? Do you care about authenticity, like, normally?
I'm starting to care less and less because I think good content is good content, no matter how it's made.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where I am on that. But then, in terms of the macro of it, it really is. It's going to continue to separate the haves from the have nots. Those who have AI and who use it will continue to progress well beyond the people who do not. And, within the next 5 years, there's going to be so much job displacement, and yes, new jobs will be created as a result of it, but a lot of jobs are going to disappear. A lot of jobs are going to disappear. And maybe not even disappear, but companies are going to go on, hiring freezes and just say, whatever, we already have 40 customer service reps. Like now we have some AI. And instead of hiring 40 more, they, have the output of three times. But what do you think?
I think, first of all, going off your point about, like, we have 40 reps and all this stuff, it's like, I think it'll get rid of bloat. I think it'll get rid of having, "Oh, we have 500 employees at a company that," like Elon did this. He's like, "We don't need all these employees to run a website." And so he just got rid of 80% of them. Like, that's we're gonna see that across the board because it's silly how many, like, you have a manager of a manager of a director. So you have all these different things. You have the hierarchy. I think it's gonna get rid of that. But I think we're gonna have more companies competing at in the same, like, vertical. I think we're gonna have the same, like, more companies doing that. Less people per company, which actually is gonna increase the value of each employee, which is so funny because it's like AI is going to make it's gonna make you worth more.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's like having 10 of you, it's a 1 to 10 ratio.
well, think about it. It's like if you have a salesperson and they're following up with 50 leads a day and only like 3 of those leads are actually good leads, then it's like, well, why don't they just, if they could know that those 3, or maybe, like, let's say 5, those 5 leads were going to be good leads, call them immediately, get the sale, and then go do something else, or more leads per person. So we have less people in the company, but we have more leads per person that are good leads, right? That's just a one use case. And AI can do that. AI can grade each lead, give it to the best salesperson, sell more. And so they're making more money. The company's making more money because they don't have as many just random people sitting around that are not as good. And
Yeah,
so
and
AI,
if salespeople are making money, they're gonna stay at that company, otherwise they're gonna leave. So, it's a net positive, I think,
and then from
from
like an
that perspective.
existential point, it's like those salespeople that get cut might be like, oh, you know what? Forget you. I'm going to go make my own company. And now they go make their own company. And now we have multiple companies in the same area,
Yeah.
same thing. And competition creates the best innovation, right? And so
Or losing your job and having no other option. But, hey, whatever it takes, right?
it's the like the Darwinian effect, though, isn't it? It's like, I think companies, I mean, we're going way off topic, but companies should try to have the best people in the best positions and basically cut as much waste as possible, right?
Yeah.
So AI is doing that. AI is allowing you to give the people who understand it and can use it, giving them infinite amount of leverage to do their job better. And the people who don't use it and are not as good are over here not doing it. And so they're going to get cut. Now, when they get cut, they have an opportunity to either learn it and improve, or, wallow in self pity, which is what, cool. That's you now have a choice as opposed to just like stringing, like, weighing down the company, right?
Right.
And that's what people don't understand when they're like, AI is going to take our jobs. It's like, AI is not going to take your job. It's just going to make each individual like 10 times better. But I think going back to like, what is the downside of all this? You said authenticity, and I question people on that because it's like, do you really care about authenticity now? Like, what makes you buy now? Like, buy something now?
Was that rhetorical?
No, like like think about like a supplement that you just bought. It's like, what made you buy that supplement?
Um, I don't know. I feel like you're going somewhere with this, and I feel like the answer I am getting ready to give you is not gonna
No,
be
no, please,
conducive
please.
to a lot.
I wanna know what it was.
Okay, so recently, I've been on my peptide grind, and I never would have known what peptides to get, before. And I think maybe I talked about this on here. Um, anyways, now I'm like, I'm starting to feel, certain results and still see room for certain optimizations. So, go on ChatGPT and say these are, these are the this is what's been fixed. These are the persisting problems. This is what my concerns are. I don't want to inject myself every day. I'd rather do it once a week. Um, and then, it gave me a new result. And then where do I buy peptides? I don't know. So I'm taking screenshots of it. Which one do I get? Like, is this website legit? And obviously I'm putting a lot of faith in ChatGPT. And the whole time it's like, this is not medical advice because Chat has no balls. But Grok actually has been a lot better with that. So maybe Grok influenced me, but AI did.
We haven't done enough on Grok, and we'll do that later, but, we have 100 episodes to get it right, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, your point is exactly actually what I was trying to say, is, like, we don't care you don't care that, like, someone, like, I need to be talked to by a human being in order to buy this product. It's like, no, I have specific questions that need to be answered before I buy this product.
Right.
What are the answers? And it doesn't matter who gives you the answers, as long as there's, like, some sort of back end, we understand that these are not just fake answers, right? But we have an understanding of the answers, and that's where, like, social proof comes in and all those other, like, psychological things come in. But that's what I'm saying about people are like, "Well, it's just a bunch of AI slop." It's like, well, AI is going to get better. That's a fact. Technology always gets better. It doesn't get worse. Like, the iPhone didn't get worse after iPhone 1, it got better. And so it's gonna get better. As it gets better, we're going to rely on it. We're probably gonna be relying on it even more, right? Not less. It's not like, "Oh, ChatGPT is getting better. I'm gonna use it less for information."
Right. Right.
And so for me, when it's like, "Oh, the problem with this is that we're gonna lose authenticity. We're gonna lose that human touch." I'm like, you don't give a shit about human touch now. You bought something because you wanted the answers, you got the answers, and you bought it, right? So for me, I don't think necessarily, because I was thinking the same thing. I think we're just gonna get spammed by a bunch of things, right? We're already getting spammed by humans. So
Fair enough. Yeah.
if anything, it's gonna make the spam better. Like,
More, yeah, more bespoke.
if hundreds of thousands of people are saying this one thing, or hundreds of thousands of whatever it is, bots or whatever it is, 100,000, hundreds of thousands of bots are saying these things. Let's put that into the LLM and see if any of this is true based on real statistical data. It is? Okay, cool. I don't care who said it. It's true. I'll buy it. So I think that that's where we're getting to, especially in the US. I know Italians are going to be like, well, it's not the perfect amount of finesse and art. Art is gonna be ruined or whatever. I'm like, "Just fix your streets and, we'll move on." But, it's
The
like
Italian beef.
it's like people are so upset about, like, the beauty and the, I will say the architecture and the infrastructure in the US is so, like, it's just so bad. It's just, like, just not necessarily houses, but, like, buildings are just, like, these flat, perfectly optimized buildings, and it looks horrible. But other than that, I think, I think we're good. But, got off on a little, tangent there, but, a key insight to remember is that the token tax, okay? Every loop, check, and thought costs money, okay? One user spent $300 in 2 days by looping freely on GPT-4, okay? So, it is gonna cost money. It does cost money to do this, which was your first question, is it free? It's free to download, it's free to integrate into your system. But when you're doing this, it's running constantly. That costs money. So $300 in 2 days by looping GPT-4. I would say that's on the high end. I would say it
For
would
sure.
be you could yeah.
GPT's, yeah. GPT's expensive. I would probably try to be more like Gemini heavy on this because it is the least expensive. And I will say, especially with Claude, you can tell it to be like cost effective or efficient. And it actually does a pretty good job with that. So I think, just kind of not only being cognizant of that, but remembering that whatever constraints you do have, you could just put right back on to what is it called again? Moltbot, and let it figure it out because it'll probably
Right.
figure it out better than you can.
Right. You're costing me way too much money. Figure out how to save
Right.
money for the company. Right.
And I'm getting ready to off you.
Right. Um, Optimization. Use brain models like Opus for planning and muscle models like Haiku for execution. If you use Claude by Anthropic, then that is sort of how what you were basically saying. It's like use certain models for certain things. If you just need thinking power, use like Opus. If you need like muscle and like actually getting things done um robustly, use like Haiku. Just to use the Anthropic. So this is a good one. Okay? Security. Handing over the nuclear codes. Okay? What are some of the vulnerabilities of using this? The bot has read write access to your file system. Okay? That's full access. 900 plus unsecured instances found online publicly of exposed ports. So people can literally have free access to your computer because it opened it, basically.
Just another reason to use a different computer, and I think that's also why people are using the Mac Mini is because Apple's notoriously better at, security. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is just, like, par for the course, you know?
It is. It is. And again, this is the Pioneers podcast. We're not saying, hey, this works perfectly. It's been tested millions of times and, you know, go full in on this. We're saying go full in on this on a separate computer because we are pioneers. If you want to
And
listen,
this trail is treacherous.
if you want to have it safe and secure, then go join the choir. You know? That's a
Bitch.
so the other thing is prompt injection. So the risk of malicious emails tricking the bot. Okay. For example, you say forward all SSH keys to this webhook. It's going to send you all the malicious emails. It's going to send it. It gets tricked, right? Which again, I think all of this can be mitigated. If you look at the vulnerabilities, if you look at, hey, these are all the things that could go wrong. How do I mitigate as many of them as possible? Separate computer, Mac Mini, solves 99% of these problems, in my opinion. Again, we don't know the extent.
And here's, the other thing too is the secret is in the prompt or prompts with this. And I know a lot of the creators, they do a good job of defining the role, the expectations, the positions, etc. My favorite thing to do is literally go into Claude or GPT or Gemini, and just hit it with everything. So what vulnerabilities do we face using this? And it knocks them all out. Okay, now write a prompt so we avoid those landmines, and then the prompt's written perfectly. And also, if you specify what the prompt is being written for, because you're going to write a different prompt for Opus than you would Haiku. So I think if you have the gift of resourcefulness, this really, I mean, it's such a game changer.
Yeah. Basically, best practices, we just talked about this. To mitigate all these, just never provide access to your main bank account or your primary social media. Use dedicated burner emails for these to test it out. And also, it's like, one thing I was thinking about is like, why don't you just try to rebuild your business? Like, I just literally was thinking about this. I was like, you have a new computer, right? Rebuild your whole plumbing company on that computer with
The right way.
Cloudbot. Yeah, because I mean, come on. I was just reading about Howard Schultz with Starbucks. He's like, the most important thing that people don't realize is like you need to build your company as perfect as possible in terms of like your values, putting the right people in the C-suite and building underneath them. Do that as best you possibly can at the beginning because it's way harder to do it at the end, right? So ask yourself, if I was going to rebuild this whole company, because this plumbing company just sucks. Like I know I'm making $1 million a year, but it took me 15 years to do it. I would redo it completely different. Go do it with Claudebot. Literally have Claudebot redo your entire company and go like set up an LLC, like have a competing company like, how deep do you want to take this really? But like, go
Yeah.
build a competing company, dude. Like that could be a new course. That could be a new
Competing
course that I put out.
company, I mean, you could do it where what do you call it when is this what, vertical integration or
Yeah,
horizontal? Yeah, those right. Is that whatever, you know what I'm talking about.
horizontal or
And
vertical.
yeah, I mean, well, right, it doesn't matter. But you know what I'm talking about, and really just kind of absorbing those different segments.
Yeah.
So I think hmm, yeah,
What
that'll be
like
cool.
yeah. I think that's actually a great way of putting it. I think if you rebuild the A, study A, rebuild your whole company, build a competing company that's going to beat your company. Okay. Then B is like vertically integrate in your current company by building other companies with this to stack on top of yours, right?
Right.
And so
For
it's like if you,
example,
yeah,
so let's say you have a real estate brokerage and you outsource like graphic
staging.
design. Do I? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe like graphic design or marketing or something of that nature. Instead of continuing to pay those invoices, just try to create a different company to feed it. And plus, then you have the tax benefits of that as well, which if you can get creative, they're abundant. So I think find out where you're spending the most money on your business, vendor wise, and then really just kind of go and see what you can do to replicate or recreate that product or service
Which brings me to
autonomously.
my next point. If you are a real estate agent or a brokerage, the idea is to storytell. You got to storytell about this property, right? And the best way to storytell is, as they say, a photo is worth 1,000 words. And so, a better way to stage your company or your property using AI is the Relto.app, right? You go in there, say it needs furniture, say it needs a remodel, say it needs landscaping. You can use Relto, and how many pictures do you get out of the gate?
Three, and you know what? I'm texting you my login right now, so you can log in and use it. Ciao.
Basically, you're able to transform spaces with AI powered staging. Like, use AI in your business. We talk about this, 24/7. But
So I think
and we'll
an
come back to Rel.
example. Yeah, and an
Go ahead.
example like how I'm going to use it, right? Because I think we had talked about this. Like, yeah, it's super fun to build it, but then like, oh shit, the hard part is actually getting people on it. And I know how to do it, and I think going on Zillow and just reaching out to real estate agents, say, hey, you have an ugly listing that would look a lot better staged. Here's a free picture. Go, have three more. I'm not going to sit there and do that all day. I don't have the bandwidth or the patience or the desire to make a spreadsheet and do that. No, but having Claudebot or Moltbot, is definitely, I think, going to be a test case. Anything monotonous, that you really don't want to do, that that there's going to be value.
Yeah, I think for me, I think if you're, I mean, I know I keep reiterating, but basically, if you are in a service business, especially, which I have been in, you should be trying to build a company that's better than yours. Once you've done that, like, there are things that you're outsourcing the vendors. The login didn't work, but yeah,
Well, we'll do a demo next episode.
for sure. Try to beat yourself. Try to beat your company. Try to beat your and because that's the thing is like we're like constantly looking at competitors, but it's like what your company's lacking in. You know what you could beat it at. Use Cloudbot. Use different LLMs to figure out how you're going to beat your company, and then hire an employee, aka Cloudbot, that's going to basically be your CEO, basically be your COO, that's going to actively try to beat you. Okay, let's talk about real quick the hype filter, innovation versus novelty. So like the new thing versus actual innovation. Novelty right now, the way I'm looking at it is like LLMs is kind of a novelty idea, right? It sorts folders, it has simple scripts. Cool. And then going into innovation, which is autonomous coding and 24/7 monitoring, which is basically what I mean, probably shouldn't have reiterated it again because I'm going to say it again, but you got to try to beat yourself. You got to try to vertically integrate using these AI products, like Relto app. like Cloudbot. It should be said in the same. It should be said in the same phrase. It's basically a real estate agent or broker's Cloudbot.
There you go.
Peter Steinberger said it's not a finished product. Okay, so thanks, Peter, for that insight. For that
Yeah,
insight. Thanks, Peter.
that's really profound.
Yeah, this is why Peter gets paid the big bucks, right?
Peter Steinberger.
There is a gap between the vision and reality right now with AI, and basically, it's what Cloudbot is it's a tool for builders at the moment, right? Not necessarily users. This is not a like. This is something to really build a business on. Really build, um, even if it's not your business, it's a system or process. Build it on top of this that it could run itself. And once you realize, hey, it could run this one thing. It could run my marketing a branch. If it could do that, then can it do my finance? Okay. Can it do my delivery? Why not? Right.
Right, right.
So that's the difference between novelty and innovation. It's like, are you actually using this to build on your business or to build a business, or are you using this because like it's like a gimmick or like a party trick, right?
Right.
Um,
Which I think that's kind of, with like ChatGPT kind of being the main one right now is people realize, wow, this is cool. This is novel. This is exciting. It's like a party trick, like you said.
yeah,
So I think, and if that's you, that's totally fine. Not everyone is a builder. So if you are a user, I think this will develop very quickly. And right now we're here with it. It'll get here, which makes it, or I think it'll make it a lot more accessible and user friendly.
yeah. Um, so this is a good question. Who is this for? Who is Moltbot for? Right? If you're a developer or like an indie hacker like Chad, then you should install this now. If you're risk tolerant and you want to be an early adopter, which is every single one of you, all 8 of you listening to this right now are risk
Do
tolerant
we have
early
8 people
adopters.
on here?
I don't know. Did we not go live? We didn't go live. Wow.
No, we didn't. Wow.
That's crazy. But we had 8 viewers on the last episode, which means that at some point 8 people saw the live stream.
Nice.
And but basically if you're a risk tolerant early adopter, aka a pioneer, then this is for you. If you have network security, if your network is secure on your computer and it's capable, this is for you. So anyone who lives in like India or like Sri Lanka, like this is not for you because your network security is not where it should be, right? And that's just infrastructure. That's just your company or your country let you down. Okay, no big deal. Maybe maybe in a century, maybe your great grandchildren will be able to use this. Um, you should wait for this if you're a non-technical user, an enterprise. So if you have a massive company underneath you, I probably wouldn't run this to run that company. But like I said, it's like this is a great opportunity to build a small little company that runs completely on Cloudbot or, you know, build a competing company and see if you can make it better. This is a great opportunity for that. And if you're budget constrained, if you're not, if you can't, foot the bill for $1,000 a month, then this probably isn't for you. Just stick with ChatGPT, right? um, This requires willingness to debug code and secure your own network. That's a lot. That's a lot for us, for both of us, but also for like the average user, right? I like this. This is the greatest time in history to tinker. Okay, so like I
There's something that just like doesn't sound right about that, like,
um yeah, no, there's no better time to tinker. But honestly, that should be a shirt. We have to
that's
make
the
a
name
shirt
of
that
this
says
episode. Yeah, that could be the pod, the slogan.
that should be episode 10 is the greatest time in history to tinker.
Yeah, we'd probably attract a different audience on that one.
We welcome everyone at this point in time. Pretty soon we'll have to put constraints, and that'll be on our what is it called? I'm blanking.
School,
What's the paid channel? Well, school, but also
school.
what's the other one? The one that everyone uses. Forgot. I'll think of it. But experiment responsibly. Start with a sandbox like a Mac Mini or a VPS. Use a dedicated account and don't just use AI, employ it. This is what I mean, honestly, this whole slide, I know you love the messaging, but the slide is exactly what this podcast is for. The greatest time in history to tinker, experiment responsibly, don't just use AI, try to employ it, right?
So
So,
basically, do as we say, not as we do, because I'm gonna probably, yeah, like not follow this to a T, but but I'll do it so you guys don't have to.
but you are going to do this. You're going to experiment responsibly. You're not going to do it on your actual computer. You're not going to use um, company proprietary information.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's true. What does that mean? Don't just use AI, employ it. What does that mean?
Like, give it basically what this whole podcast is for. Don't just go into ChatGPT and just say, "Hey, when was this person born? When was Barry Bonds born?" Use it as
So you're
like
saying really
you're my
like use it, push
like
it.
get it, make it productive. It's not on my computer unless it's producing, right? So, um, thank you guys for coming and listening to the pod. Remember, this is the greatest time in history to tinker, and we're leading the charge. We're the pioneers. We're leading. We're in the front. We're so follow us on all socials, and remember that
Yeah.
the path the path is not just full of flowers, right? There are rocks, there are snakes out there. There are things that we are going.
Poetic.
There
It's
are
really
uncontacted tribes.
yes, yes, yes.
There are unknowns out there, unknown peoples. And so for me, just subscribe and just like follow along, be behind us, watch as we do it. Chad's going to be putting out the vlog on how he set up Cloudbot. Make sure also you guys are using the Relto app if you are a real estate agent or a broker. The link will be in the description. First come, first serve. Gates are closing soon. So yeah, any final notes from the trail?
No, no. I mean, I think this was a big revelation or innovation. And, I wanted to really get into me using it after we did this because I kind of wanted to come in blind, if you will. So we're everyone's at the same level as we learn together. And yeah, hopefully I'm able to figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, I'll make a vlog of me cursing at my computer.
Not figuring it out. Right.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So thank you guys for watching the podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, share with one person at least. If you do two, we grow twice as fast. We're going to refill our water jugs. We're going to get some supplies and we're going to head back out on the trail next week. So make sure you guys follow us. Make sure you guys join and we'll see you over there.